to Apothecary After Dark. Hello and welcome to another episode of Apothecary After Dark, Amityville Apothecary's official podcast. I am Dina Rosenberg, your co-host and co-owner of Amityville Apothecary.
Hi guys, I'm Danielle.
And we are coming to you with a really exciting and super important episode on protection. And I would dare say that protection magic, protection rituals, protection anything is foundational in any spiritual practice. And it's not just magical practice, boundary setting, interpersonal relations. It's incredibly important to keep your sanity in this crazy world. But before we get into it, we're going to ask you to please subscribe to our podcast and, give us all the love. It means so much to us and it really helps us out.
Yeah, share with your friends, like it, talk about things that you like about it, ask us questions of things you want to hear more of. We love to hear from you, so it's an open dialogue.
Or tell us where we're wrong, because we like to argue in the comments. I'm kidding.
Well, I like differing opinions and different perspectives. So, definitely open up the conversation because, we're here for it. So, and we want to hear practices that you incorporate too. So
we don't know everything.
Yeah, I think what prompted this topic is obviously just the state of affairs in the world today, amongst friends, amongst family, amongst geopolitics, amongst every aspect of life. And I think people are walking around on eggshells.
Yeah.
And some are very snappish, some are very scared and skittish. I think it's really important to protect your energy. Not everybody is going to have your best interest at heart. And it's a key time now, especially to use extreme discernment on who you're sharing your most vulnerable thoughts with. And know that the world at large doesn't need to know all of your business. You don't have to overshare. I recommend not oversharing and using a lot of discernment with voicing strong opinions one way or another. But, who you surround yourself with, who you're sharing with, are they truly vested in you and what's best for you? Do they cheer for you when you're doing well? Or are they kind of happy when you're falling a little bit? Like, you got to really be aware of your surroundings and be very cautious about who you consider a friend versus an acquaintance versus a business associate.
Yeah.
There are differences. And I think that in today's day and age of social media and influencers and the reality TV of like FOMO and thinking that everybody's doing that, like, not everything you see online is actuality of truth in the world. Like, what you see is what people want you to see. So take that with a grain of salt. And I just think now more than ever, we all need to be reminded of protecting oneself and surrounding yourself with a small, tight circle of trusted, true friends, and maybe managing how you deal with everybody else.
Yeah.
Like that.
I think, you touched on a lot because, first of all, obviously in the social media climate, it is addicting. It gives you a dopamine rush to get those likes and, have people engaged in what you have to say. And there's a level of self-validation there. Like the photo that I posted of myself, people like and they're commenting, or, what I posted for my business, people like and they're sharing it and they're super invested in it. And it makes you feel good and it makes you feel valued and important. And sure, we all as human beings want the same things. We want to be seen for who we are. We want to be loved, valued, adored. Nothing, right? Just lay it on, right? But, putting how you feel in the hands of others and whether they're receiving what you're putting out there as something that they think is valuable is just going to set you up to screw up your mindset.
You're leaving yourself open.
Right. It shouldn't matter what people think about what you're doing. If you want to do something for yourself, just do it. And you don't need to put 8 million photographs of everything that you're doing all over the place. I don't. Danielle's a little bit more sharey than I am. I'm not super sharey, although I do share every single morning in my Instagram stories, which I'm very comfortable putting them there because they don't last. They're not there like constantly for you to go back to. They are there for the 24 hours and they're gone. But I'm literally in my most vulnerable state in a towel, putting on my makeup, just going on about whatever it is that I want to talk about for the day. And, I think what's important about that and about choosing how to present yourself is not getting attached to how people receive you as a validation on who you are, because you need to be happy with your life based upon how you're living in the moment.
Yes, based on your own terms and what makes you happy, because nobody is living your life for you. Nobody's paying your bills. They don't know what you do day to day. They're not waiting for you with a warm meal when you get home and helping you get dressed in the morning and get you out the door. And so keep that circle tight. And I think because I do share a lot of what's happening in my life on social media and elsewhere, I do have a threshold where I'm comfortable sharing, and I'm also comfortable with myself. So if somebody's going to come at me, it's taken me years that I don't really judge myself or change my behaviors based on the opinion of others. But I think because I do share, a lot of people feel like they have a sense of closeness or understanding about intimate aspects of my life that may or may not be true.
They tell themselves stories about who you are.
Right.
And it's not you.
Right, because what I share on social media are the aspects of life that I choose to share. They may be victories, they may be thoughts, they may be a specific moment in time or an episode of a celebration or a sorrow or a challenge or just a thought, and that's okay. But what happens over time is everybody's so caught up in their life and they see these snippets that they form an opinion of who they think you are in totality. And I have had some instances where people that I believed were my friends jumped to massive conclusions that were not based in any semblance of reality, and then went ahead and actually used that to slander or malign, which was quite hurtful, but also completely uninformed and unfounded. Right. And I think we do run the risk of that with the oversharing and just with the nature of social media, because I think everybody can find one instance where they may have jumped to a conclusion.
Of course.
How many of us have seen photos of dream vacations of a couple and they look like a perfect family only to find they divorced? Well, okay, they were showing you what they were hoping to portray, but behind closed doors they were working through stuff that none of us had any idea about. And that happens all the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important that we protect ourselves. So first of all, debunking the myth of what you see on social media is fact is truth in totality. It's entertainment. It's fun. There are celebrations. It should be celebrated. But I think also now more than ever, it's so critical because there's a lot of divisiveness, which is designed to divide. The algorithms serve you more of what you see, and that divide is perpetuated. And not everybody has your best interest at heart. Right. Some people really revel in your downfall and they want to see you fail.
Especially if they're miserable themselves, right? That old adage that misery loves company is an old adage for a reason, right? People don't really want to see your success. If you're down in your luck or you're having a hard time in your life, you don't want to see somebody I want to see people, but a lot of people don't want to see people rubbing it in their face that they're doing so well and I'm so miserable, right? A lot of people are like that.
Some people do. Yeah, some people do, unfortunately.
It reminds me of the conversation that we had with Antonio, who wrote the book, The Evil Eye, The Quiet Curse. Oh, yeah. That, you do need to be so careful with what you put out there because people first of all, jealousy is so important to protect yourself against.
Right.
And that energy of people being jealous of you, I'm like literally just getting the full body chills because like a lot of people will want what you have, but they're not going to want to work for what you have.
They're not willing to do the work to achieve
exactly.
what you
They just
have,
want to get the end result, but they don't want to put in the effort. And they're going to throw all those damn eye daggers at you. So like for me, I don't share super much on social because I just don't think like it's a lot of everybody's business.
Right. Well, thou shalt not covet is one of like the commandments. But like, you know, some people do like, they're like, oh, that one has like a dream life or I can do that. But like, are you doing the work? Do you know the foundation of risk and hard work and grit that and hardship that it took for them to achieve that? Like people see us in our business now. How many years have we been open?
Almost 6.
Almost 6 years. We're coming up on 6 years. And they think that they can just open up a new business on day one and start where we are at year six.
It's so impossible.
Without doing that work. And like so, you know, I just think I personally am of the mindset like high tides lift all ships. Not everybody sees things so optimistically. No. And they think like you got to cut somebody down. And that's very unfortunate. But protection is vital. Boundaries, protection. When people come in, they say, I feel so drained. Because there are energy vampires that will try to suck the light out of you, suck the energy away from you, siphon away, or cut you down. If you're winning, they'll say something to try to make you feel less than so that they can lift themselves up in a weird way.
Right. Or people that, you know, I do have sort of the sense that some people are more naturally optimistic and some people are just more naturally pessimistic. I've come across them in my 49 years on Earth where, you know, I tend to be more of an optimistic person. And it's really interesting. You know, we do have an aura machine that reads that reads your aura and takes your energy. And a lot of people that are natural yellow personalities, they have a very bright light and they have a lot of energy. And people that don't have access to that type of energy, because maybe they're just like naturally a little bit more Eeyore, a little bit more. Do you guys know Eeyore?
I love Eeyore.
You know, he was sweet, but he was always like, oh, you know, like that.
But then he needed a supportive friends to come check on him.
So the problem is that when you're a yellow or you're a natural, bright, sort of, you know, upbeat person, and it's not that we don't get depressed or we don't feel emotion or that we don't have problems. It's just that we have an energy source. We have a confidence and a driven nature to know that we can overcome and handle problems. People are going to want that light from you. They're going to want that energy. So you do have to, you know, be careful of those types of people. People that will just come in and trauma dump on you.
Oh, we get that a lot. We get that a lot. Yeah, I don't know why. Sometimes people are lonely, they're sad, they're down on their luck, and they just come in and they trauma dump. And then you just are like, what happened? I feel like I just got hit by a car. Like, I hold space for people, but I certainly didn't give permission to like trauma dump. And check yourself. If you are trauma dumping on people, like maybe go see a therapist to work through that stuff, because then you'll also feel better.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, I just pulled this book down, Blackthorn's Protection Magic. Amy Blackthorn is an author.
She's a friend of the shop.
Yeah, she's coming on this weekend, and she's going to be doing a talk about protection magic. Before you do any type of metaphysical practice, I always recommend surrounding yourself in white light, calling in Archangel Michael, calling in your spirit team, using, you know, black salt at your doors. There's so many different techniques.
Creative visualization. I use like
so much.
You know, when people come into the shop and they are trauma dumping, I literally envision a black hole in front of me and all their energy going into the earth, into the hole.
Right.
Like, and I thankfully have like a pretty good ability where I could half listen. So like I'm just like trying to like say some of the buzzwords, but I disengage from their energy and from most of the conversation to protect myself.
And a lot of people say, oh, I'm an empath. I feel everybody's energy. I take on other people's energy. I say, stop right there. You do not take on their energy. You may feel their energy, but it does not mean you have to take that on as your own.
We're not doing that.
You have to energetically protect yourself and visually push that energy away
Yeah.
and repel it, because that is not your energy nor your burden to take on. And, you really have to be conscious and cognizant of the people you surround yourself with, and energetically you feel that. Mm-hmm. So I said I've been coming out of a hermit mode. I kept my circle very tight. I really went through a lot of stages in life. I used to want to have so many friends, and, my circle was wide. I have thousands of friends all over the world.
Yeah.
That is legitimately true.
It is.
I do.
Dana knows a lot of people in a lot of places.
I feel like that's part of my life's gifts here, connecting people, networking people, but it doesn't mean that I am safe to share with everybody. I need to have the discernment of who I can share what with.
And you could like people.
I do
you
like
could
people.
like people, have a great time with them.
And I have many differences from people.
Right, and you could have meals with them and want to hang out with them, whatever. They're still not your friend.
It's a difference. It is a difference. I think we need to normalize that in society. Really getting back to society used to define that more.
Right. My acquaintance
and
versus
it was okay.
my friend. Yeah. It's not an insult.
It's a business associate of mine. Let me introduce that and facilitate an introduction for business purposes.
Yeah.
Great. Does it mean we're going to be calling each other on the phone all the time and sharing giggles until midnight? No, it's a business associate, and that's okay.
Yeah,
it has its role in place.
It's so funny because I have, and this is actually really funny, and I don't really share a lot of things like this, but I'm going to let you in a little bit behind the curtain. But a couple, 2 weeks ago, so my daughter's up in college. Her boyfriend's here, still on Long Island, and they're still together, and they're doing that long distance thing. And he stopped by the shop unannounced just to say hello.
Oh.
And he walked in, and I thought to myself, why are you here? And I was like, hi. And he's like, oh, well, I thought I'd say hi and visit you. And I went, why? But I did not say that because I know that is not socially acceptable to do. And it was very nice to see him, and I care for him. He means a lot to my daughter. However, that's my daughter's boyfriend. My daughter is 17 years old.
Right.
He's not my son-in-law. He's an 18-year-old lovely young man who I care for a lot. But it's I'm not making it into something that it isn't yet. It might very well be something much more in the future one day. But so that's what I'm that's what sort of we're talking about here is that there's I feel these days, I sound like an old person now, these days, these kids, but these days people are so quick to bestow titles and let people into their inner sanctum, their inner world before it's earned or before it's even appropriate to do. It's not appropriate for me to create a relationship with somebody who isn't I care for him. I buy him presents. I will help him if he needed something. If his car broke down,
just used to seeing you more.
Yeah, of course. But it's just for me. I was oh. Are you okay?
Right.
Is everything fine? But for me, it's a boundary. When I was growing up, my mother would not allow boys to be in my bedroom. My mother said that is sacred space. And my mother isn't religious. She is witchy. She wouldn't claim that energy, but she's definitely friggin' psychic, and that bitch is connected to us because she knows crap, let me tell you.
That's for sure.
She totally knows.
Yeah.
She's so Scorpio. She'll be I know that you're she would know. She would call me. She'd be I know that you're effing up. I'm who told her, But she would say that's sacred space. That's your inner sanctum.
Right.
Boys don't belong in there. And, again, use discernment and be mindful of the titles that you bestow on people before they are entitled to receive them.
And also, they don't know what you're planning, what you're doing, how you're living, nor do you have to answer to them. Mm-mm. And you are not beholden to them. So when we first left our former careers and we opened this shop and we started sharing with our family
oh my goodness,
the plans that we're going to open a crystal store and a metaphysical place, they were are you going through a midlife crisis?
Yeah. People were
Are you
concerned.
like, and they really did not hold back spewing
No.
their opinions, and they all doubted us. Now, if I listened to that, I could have been, back in my miserable corporate America position of going, being the dutiful robot that I was living. But I said, you're not paying my bills. You're not living my life. You're not feeling my joy or lack thereof. And I don't need to be beholden to you. So watch me. Watch me as I go, but I don't need to answer to you. And I'm going to protect my freedom and protect my energy. And I believe in myself, this is what I'm doing. Now, metaphysical practices is that which is not known or understood in a scientific manner. So if you start embarking on your practice, there are people that may say, that is the work of the devil, or you can't do this because it's not religious, or that's weird. Like, who cares? Don't tell them what you're doing. You do things in your private space, in your private practice, follow the clues of what feels right to you.
Right.
And I don't think you have to be like kumbaya, all love and light, because it's not, and you have to protect yourself.
Right. Stay in the broom closet if you have to stay safe.
Which is what the evil eye is about,
Exactly.
like protect yourself, and there's different levels.
Not everybody's gonna be down with what you're doing, and that's okay. But if they can't be respectful about what it is that you're doing, then you do have to have boundaries to keep yourself feeling good, because everybody's entitled to that. And,
And I am not for everyone.
that is true.
And I got really comfortable with that. And I think it's very empowering once you get comfortable with, I am not for everyone, and that's okay, because it's just a really beautiful mantra.
I like to piggyback on that. I am not for everyone, and everyone is not for you.
Yeah.
It works both ways.
Totally.
So, we have a bunch of really amazing practitioners
An event.
coming. We're hosting a Day of Alchemy on November 3rd. It's both in person and virtually. It is a full day of learning from 9 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. We have 4 amazing world-renowned teachers coming to teach different types of divination and magical practices. We have how to learn a palm reading in 90 minutes by James Divine. We have Sasha Graham, who has written many books on tarot, on spell work, shadow work, on tarot cards. She's coming to teach shadow work and tarot. We have Antonio, the author of The Evil Eye, but he is going to be teaching us about saint magic, which on November 3rd, it is the prime time for that, right?
Yep. And then Jasmina Von Thiel.
She's a Romany fortune teller. She's going to be teaching us how to read tea leaves. Tasseomancy, right?
Yeah.
Tasseomancy. You're going to get your own teacups. We're going to be drinking tea. You're going to be reading the leaves. And at the end of the day, we're going to be hosting what's called a dumb supper, which is a meal eaten in noble silence to honor your departed loved ones, your deceased and your dead. You're going to learn how to do the ritual. So it is literally a full day of learning.
Completely immersive. It's going to be great. And we have a whole lineup of events, classes. You can sign up for readings, but this is going to be a really, really special event. So if you can join us, there are people who are flying in for this. It's going to be really epic. So
the tickets for this are available on our website, which is shop.amityvilleapothecary.com. And lucky for you, if you want, you could use Afterpay, which is a pay in 4.
Yep.
Even though I think for a full day of learning 4 90-minute sessions at $333 is a deal, because I know people that are doing weekend workshops that are
Thousands.
4 figures.
Yeah.
So this is a deal. We're trying to make it as accessible as possible while still, paying the practitioners and giving them, what their time is worth as well, which is really important to us. It's really important that you guys should know that, we buy from the publishers, we support these authors. Creators deserve to get paid for their work. Artists deserve to get paid for their work. It's really important that, we are supporting them, because it's reciprocity, right?
Absolutely. And guys, I hope that this talk about protection was valuable to you. I would love to hear what some of your protection practices are. It can relate to family members, to relationships, to friends, to business relationships that may be challenging for you, but definitely as part of your spiritual practice. please always incorporate protective measures, because don't leave yourself open and vulnerable, especially as you're opening up your crown and opening up to just being completely energetically vulnerable. It's really an important part of practice. So we like to close just by pulling a card and talking about upcoming energy to guide you until the next podcast.
Pull for the collective.
Yeah, so I am using the adorable tarot deck called Catacorn Tarot by my friend Pamela Chen.
And I'm using the very tried and true Smith-Waite Tarot.
This is so cute.
Wait, what'd you get?
The Ten of Pentacles. Did you
I got the Nine of Pentacles.
Perfect progression. Do you want to start?
Sure. I was like waiting to sort of see what you pulled, but I really love the Nine of Pentacles. So tell me she doesn't remind you of Mrs. Roper.
Yeah. She's totally
from Three's
rocking.
Company.
Yeah.
She's like wearing her she's got
her moo-moo.
So comfortable. I got my money. I got my birds singing all the secrets of the universe into my ear. I got it on lock, right? So this is such a great abundance card, which is really interesting because we're heading towards Samhain, right? October 31st, which is the final of 3 harvests. And that would be the last harvest to take everything that you grew and save it for the winter. So I think we're all coming off of a very successful summer, and we have a lot of riches and wealth to sustain us through the winter months.
Yeah, and looking at this Catacorn Tarot, the Ten of Pentacles, it's a happy little catacorn family. So the daddy cat is looking at the playpen with the baby kittens playing, and the mama's nurturing them. And then there's a beautiful skylight with the sun shining through and coins. It's just contentedness without anything external. It's nuclear. It's private. It's intimate, and just a wholesome, beautiful moment with those who are surrounding you that you love most.
And those who have your best interest at heart going to our talk.
It's perfectly aligned, and I think it's a wonderful way to wrap it up. So we would love to hear from you. I hope this all resonates. We always are striving to provide content that's accessible and thought-provoking for you. So please let us know what more you'd like to hear from, what your thoughts are on these topics and beyond. And we really do hope that you join us at any of the upcoming events and come see us at the shop.
Bye, guys.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to us today. We look forward to connecting with you again soon, so be sure to come back for the next episode.
And make sure to follow us on social media. It's the fastest way you can get in touch with us at Amityville Apothecary, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And of course, subscribe to this podcast. We are eternally grateful for your support.